The air burns at 134 degrees. The ocean crushes at 1,100 atmospheres. The ground dissolves in acid with a pH near 0. 8 places on Earth push human survival past the breaking point, and we are ranking every one of them. From blinding deserts to radioactive ghost cities, from venomous islands to depths no sunlight has ever reached, each one kills differently. We begin where the heat alone can end you in hours. Number 1. Death Valley turns survival into a race against the sun. Here, the ground sinks to 282 feet below sea level at Badwater Basin, and the air at Furnace Creek has hit a world record 134 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hot enough to cook an egg on the rocks, but deadly enough to end a life in hours. Dehydration sets in fast. Rangers warn that in this heat, the old rule about surviving 3 days without water doesn't apply. It is a matter of hours before heat stroke can kill. Rescue isn't guaranteed. When the temperature climbs past 120 degrees Fahrenheit, even helicopters struggle to lift off because the thin, scorching air robs rotors of their power. In July 2019, 2 hikers stranded on the salt flats had to be winched up to safety, every minute on the ground pushing their bodies closer to collapse. As one survivor put it, the sun felt like a furnace. In Death Valley, the landscape itself is out to finish you off. In second place, Mount Washington turns the sky itself into a weapon. The summit is notorious for winds that have shattered records. Back in 1934, a gust hit 231 miles per hour, fast enough to rip roofs from houses and flatten anything caught outside. Even now, the mountain's weather can flip from calm to chaos in minutes. In February 2015, a bomb cyclone slammed the peak with sustained winds over 100 miles per hour, gusting past 140 miles per hour. That storm buried the summit in snow and erased all sense of direction. Whiteouts are common here. Visibility drops to 0, and the world becomes nothing but swirling snow and screaming wind. For anyone stranded, rescue is a race against time and the elements. The wind can knock you off your feet, freeze your skin, and drown out all sound except its own roar. As one climber trapped during a blizzard put it, the wind sounded like a freight train. Inside the hut, the glass rattled until it shattered, and we had to step outside into a wall of snow. On Mount Washington, survival depends on outlasting the mountain's fury, not just the cold, but the raw violence of the air itself. Coming to the top 3, Lake Kivu hides its deadliest secret beneath calm blue water. This vast lake, wedged between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, is loaded with billions of cubic meters of methane and carbon dioxide dissolved deep below the surface. At first glance, it looks peaceful, until the water starts to bubble and fish float up dead, as happened near Gisenyi in 2002. What is really terrifying is the risk of a limnic eruption, a sudden violent release of gas that could sweep across the shoreline and suffocate entire towns in minutes. Scientists call it a ticking time bomb, with enough gas to threaten 2 million people. Every so often, the lake coughs up signs of instability, bubbling foam, strange surface ripples, unexplained fish kills. Methane extraction plants now tap the gas for electricity, but even engineers admit they are racing against nature. As one fisherman put it, the water started to cough, foam rose like milk, and the fish were dead the next day. Here, even a gentle breeze or a distant tremor could turn water into poison. Coming to the top 3, the Dainakal Depression turns the ground itself into a threat. Here, in the shadow of Ethiopia's Dalol volcano, the earth bubbles with acid pools so strong, some measure a pH close to 0. The air burns with sulfur, and the temperature hovers around 45 degrees Celsius, hot enough to warp metal, let alone human skin. Sulfur chimneys rise from the crust, building towers that steam and hiss with toxic fumes. For the Afar salt miners, survival means a daily gamble. Ahmed Ali, who hauls blocks of salt across these flats, describes keeping one eye on the ground, because a single misstep can land you in a pool that melts gloves and scorches flesh. We have to watch the ground. The crust can crack open and steam burns your skin in an instant. Out here, the challenge isn't escape, it's endurance. Every day, miners walk the line between getting paid and getting burned. In the Danakil Depression, even the rocks seem to be plotting against you. Number 5 drops us into the darkness of the San Jose mine, where survival isn't about braving the elements, but outlasting total confinement. In August 2010, a sudden collapse turned the mine's tunnels into a tomb, sealing 33 men nearly half a mile underground. The air thickened with dust, the lights vanished, and all sense of time blurred into endless night. With only 2 days' worth of food, the miners rationed tiny spoonfuls, just enough to keep hope alive. Leadership mattered more than oxygen, and Foreman Luis Urzua insisted, "We are together. We cannot think of escape alone, or we all die." Days stretched into weeks. The only sound that cut through the silence was the distant thud of rescue drills, each strike a heartbeat from the world above. After 69 days, the Phoenix capsule finally broke through the rock, lifting each man one by one back to daylight. As miner Jose Luis Munoz put it, when the drill bit hit rock, it sounded like a heartbeat. We all felt it. In the San Jose mine, survival meant turning chaos into order and darkness into a reason to hold on. Number 6. Snake Island is a place where the ground itself seems to pulse with danger. Just off the coast of Brazil, Ilha da Queimada Grande is sealed off by law, a forbidden zone nobody enters without military clearance. The reason is simple: golden lance-head vipers. Up to 4,000 of the world's most venomous snakes crowd this tiny patch of rainforest, sometimes packed so tightly that every step risks a bite. Their venom acts fast. It is powerful enough to kill an adult in under an hour, with no hospital anywhere near. The old lighthouse stands abandoned, its keepers driven out a century ago after stories of snakes slithering through floorboards and striking at boots in the night. Today, only a handful of scientists are allowed brief visits, always in thick boots and under strict watch. One researcher described how a viper slipped into her laces during a survey. 1 second of distraction, and the adrenaline hit like a shockwave. On Snake Island, survival is a matter of luck and permission. The only rule is never let your guard down. Number 7. The Mariana Trench is where the planet stops pretending to care about human limits. Drop down nearly 11,000 meters, almost 7 miles, and the pressure at the bottom crushes anything not built for the job. That is over 1,100 times what you feel at sea level, enough to turn a steel sphere into scrap metal in seconds. Down here, light never reaches the ocean floor, and the water hovers just above freezing. When the bathyscaphe Trieste made its historic descent in 1960, Jacques Piccard described a world of total blackness, no sound but the hiss of their own breath, no movement but the hull flexing under the weight of the Pacific. More than 50 years later, James Cameron's solo dive in 2012 pushed the boundaries again. He said the hull hummed under the crush, and when the lights went out, it felt like the ocean itself was alive and pressing in. In the Mariana Trench, survival is not a challenge. It is impossible without a shell of technology. This is the edge of what humans can endure, and Earth makes the rules. And finally, in first place, Chernobyl stands as the world's most haunting zone of invisible danger. When Reactor 4 exploded in April 1986, the blast did not just shatter concrete, it unleashed radioactive particles that drifted silently across the land. Pripyat, once a thriving city, emptied in a matter of hours. Residents watched the sky glow orange, alarms wailing, before soldiers ordered everyone onto buses, leaving pets and possessions behind. Radiation seeped into every surface, clinging to playground swings, kitchen tables, and the very soil. Decades later, the exclusion zone remains off-limits, not because of crumbling buildings, but because the real threat cannot be seen or smelled. Geiger counters still click wildly near the red forest, and the air carries a tension that never fades. Nature has crept back. Trees swallow old roads, wild boar roam empty apartment blocks, but the sense of abandonment is everywhere. As one evacuee remembers, I had to leave my kitten, my only friend, because the gate was sealed. In Chernobyl, survival means escaping a ghost that lingers long after the disaster. Which of these places would you never set foot in, even for $1 million? Let us know in the comments. And do not forget to subscribe for more journeys to the edge of survival. Across all 8 places, one truth stands out. When Earth turns hostile, survival isn't just hard, it's nearly impossible. Nature's extremes don't negotiate. They remind us how thin our margin for life really is. Which of these nightmares would you never visit, even for $1 million? Drop your answer below and subscribe for more.